Okay, so I think I'm going to put this first, and then everything else, and then I don't know where I blinked off with that everything else, but I blinked off. Because when I get depressed, what is the date today? What's the date? May 23rd of 2024. Okay, so we got the date. Obviously I got depressed. I went with my trigger. I did another shop. You'll see that after this, because I'm going to put this first. Because I'm going to explain this video for the most part, and then move on, because Lady Jane has uploaded another video with a follow-up with that last $200 that I sent her way when little Peter came down with that sickness. And she ended up buying a mattress and whatnot. So, okay, so we're going to talk about that in my next video, okay? Whereas this video, I'm titling it, oh, jeez. My immune system is very, very, very low right now, people. You don't even know. Oh, I'm worn out. A bitch fest video. That's what I'm going to call it. A bitch fest video / stand up or step back. You either stand up or you step back, okay? And the video basically is just to ruffle some feathers. And I already warned Lady Jane that I've been sitting on this video for a while because, you know, it's hard to talk about the things that I was talking about in this video that's coming up because people get insulted, right? They hear something and immediately they jump on the bandwagon and they run with the negative, and you know, nobody likes to take criticism. Nobody likes to be critiqued, including me, right? You know, and everybody thinks they're right, especially in this day and age with the, you know, the Rambo, the computer the keyboard Rambo, right? You know, everybody's got their method of madness and how they approach problems, and but Amari, what are you doing? But at the end of the day, you know, for the ones that are stepping up, you know, I think we do. Amari, that's Amari. If I told him to be quiet, he wouldn't. So anyway, Anyway, I'm just going to put this video up as is. It's just a means to open up the conversation to some degree or another. Who's watching? Who's listening? Who cares? It's a long process, people. I've been working on the foundation for, what, over 25 years? I mean, right? And it's like I'm starting from ground zero, right? I'm starting at ground zero with Lady... Oh my God, just hold on a minute. All right, it's just an old landline, people. See, I'm an old school dinosaur. Oh well, anyway, you can see. Anyway, okay, so what was I saying? 25 years, and I'm at ground zero with Lady Jane. But we're, you know, we got our sights on all of Africa. And since I've come into contact with Lady Jane, I don't know what YouTube is up to, but they, you know, when I go on to my, you know, click onto YouTube and it brings up the, whatever their suggested videos are. It's African this, African village, and other villages from other countries, and it's just, I'm being bombarded by it, right? So, of course, I'm watching different YouTubers. Some of them I take more serious than others. And that's what provoked me to say the things that I said after what you're going to see after this part is over, right? You need to understand why I kind of veered off with, I suppose, a little bit of a rant, because, you know, YouTube is a very shady corporation all the way around. If YouTube staff and CEOs don't have their hand in the cookie jar, right, taking when nobody's looking out of the cookie jar, it's the YouTubers themselves. And then once these YouTubers, these bigger YouTubers get, you know, caught up with the money coming in through their content, whatever that content is, they're stuck. They get stuck in their ways. And then if they side with the devil and then start incorporating, you know, devil signs, like satanic symbolism, whether it's, you know, in the background with a picture, or, you know, how they say the black and white checker, right, could possibly be a signature of satanic symbolism. You know, however they do with their hands. This one is one, and that's another one. Although when people talk, and, you know, if you use your hands like I do when we talk, sometimes we do stuff like that, but it doesn't mean that we're trying to promote. But with other YouTubers, yeah, no problem. You can see it. I you know, like, especially the larger ones, right? And then, of course, YouTube sends all their traffic there, and they're very popular, and they're making mad money. But, you know, if you come to them with a charitable initiative and you ask for help in any kind of capacity, they completely ignore you. They completely ignore you, because that's not the agenda. That's why I mean, like, I'm at ground zero with Lady Jane, right? And through by being there, all of a sudden I'm being bombarded by all these other YouTube channels, some smaller, some larger, with everybody on their own agenda, using, you know, base subjects to gain one, attention, two, donations. That's a big one. You know, which kind of now, after thinking about it for the last week, because I've been really debating about whether I should put this video up or not, because I'm not trying to insult anybody. But then on the other hand, you know, sometimes you have to ruffle feathers. And like I've already warned Lady Jane, like, I'm not comfortable about putting up this video, because I don't want it to backfire on me. But then on the other hand, I've got nothing to, myself personally, I've got nothing to lose, because YouTube and their staff and their algorithm and their trolls and their bots, they've got me sitting at 1,000 subscribers. I'm just waiting for that number count to drop with that psychological warfare, right? As I'm still true to my word in terms of whatever I'm trying to do here, I'm not faking the funk. You know, I'm putting in my best foot forward. I'm making the investment where I can by making donations to Lady Jane, right? To bring change for a family unit, right? That has been basically abandoned by their government. And speaking of that, the more I see these videos from other YouTubers coming into contact with the same quote-unquote movie scene, the same impoverished situation where there is limited to no access to any form of resources, including the community itself, because of, we talked about that, whether it's apathy or they just don't have it to give, traditions, taboos, anything can make anybody pull back and not help, right? Just like I can convince myself to go off and spend $300 on chicken, salmon, and mackerel, and some shrimp, and some beans to top off what I have because I'm depressed. And the salmon was coming in at $3 a pound. Like, come on, where are you going to find salmon at $3 a pound? Fresh, wild-caught salmon. It's frozen, but that's okay. I don't mind. I unthawed it. I already canned it. I'm going to show you after I'm done this. Now, am I going to go off and do it again? Hell no. Because not only do I have that now, right? I've got a lot of these. But at $3 a pound, this cost me to buy sockeye salmon in a can at 213 grams. It cost me $5 a can at Walmart, $6 a can at Canadian Superstore. If it's pink wild-caught salmon, it's $4 a can. At Walmart, $5 a can. At 213 grams, and that would be including water. Okay? Whereas if which I did, I bought only because it was $3 a pound, and I had the jars. It wasn't no sweat off of my back. I had it done in 2 freaking days. Everything that I did there in terms of quote-unquote canning, right? A 500 milliliter of a jar. Here, let me just go get it. Hold on a minute. Let me just go get 2 jars and I'll walk you through it. Okay, so in total I bought five packets of fish. I think it came out to $38. Okay? One is already, one with 2 fish in the bag is frozen. And I canned up whatever was in the other 4 bags. Okay? At $3 a pound. Even if you were to, it's 400 and, I think 58 grams for a pound of something, right? 213 is 426. So it would take 2 of these and a bit. 2 1/4, 1/3 can to make one of these. Okay? I'd have to pay $11 to $12 for this to get this, minus the jar. All right, that's how I justified it. $3 a pound, you can't go wrong. Do it. You won't be able to can next year because you won't be able to see it, right? A few more jars of salmon in it, it ain't gonna kill you. If anything, it will be good because it's high in so many nutrients, right? If it was not high in nutrients, selenium, and there's a whole list of them, right? I wouldn't have done it. Zinc, all of them, right? By doing what I've been doing all these years, I've determined that beef and salmon are the most nutritional meat products available compared to pork, chicken, mackerel, tuna, whatever. The leader of the pack is beef and salmon, preferably sockeye salmon. However, pink salmon, wild caught pink salmon is pretty damn good too. So in terms of a variety of nutrients. So I didn't feel like I was losing, right? Although I put myself in the hole, as I always do, right? And I cut back on bills again. But I'm now working towards digging myself out of the hole and at least getting back on schedule, right? Where I don't have to be so much like a juggler, right? But I'm okay. I made it through the month, right? And we know nobody's going hungry in my house. No, not at all. So in the meantime, $3 a can, $3 a pound. This is the salmon. Oh, this is the mackerel. The mackerel, I don't know. It was like $7 for the bag. I got like 4 jars, and that thing is packed full of mackerel. And then I took the heads and I canned them in a separate jar, because you cut off the heads, right? And I canned them in a separate jar if and when I ever make cat food. Or if I wanted to make like a fish broth or something, because I'm making clam chowder, I suppose I could put that in a pot, heat it up, right? You know, boil it so it gets that flavor in the broth, and then take out the fish heads, give them to the cats, and keep the broth, and then proceed to make clam chowder if I wanted to. Either or. I can them in their own jar. So I'm not losing out, right? And I got 4 full, nice jars. Now, would I do this again? No, because you can buy a can, double the size of this, you know, like in a you know, a disc, like a dollar store or a place like that, for $2 a can, maybe $2.50 a can now. Maybe it's $3 a can now. All I know is I don't need mackerel for a long time, and I thought I'd try this, right? You know, and I have still some frozen to fry it up fresh when I want to try it. So I have factory canned mackerel. I have home canned mackerel. We also did the sardines back in the day, right? They're in my bedroom. I already have salmon in the house from way back in the day. And I only did the salmon because it was $3 a pound. That's incredible. That's an incredible price. And I had the jars. So it meant nothing to me. Look how beautiful that is. And that's full. That's full. It's fuller than this. And a whole lot cheaper. Okay, so now we know why I did that. And then I bought the black-eyed peas. 6 bags at 8 Kia bags. So it came in almost at 25 pounds. Right? Or whatever it was. I don't know. I'd have to double check. Anyway, it was only $36. They're not organic. However, when I open them up, I'm going to rinse off a few and I'm going to see if they sprout. Because if they sprout, then that means that they don't have a lot of anything sprayed on them. So it's a hit and miss when you're buying that kind of stuff from the grocery stores, right? But the only reason, I'm telling you, the only reason I bought the black-eyed peas is because through my shopping all these years with my food prep, that is the one bean that was extremely hard to come across unless I wanted to order them from the States, from a place like Good to Live, and pay like exorbitant amount of price in terms of, it was just too expensive. And that was assuming that you could find them. So when I seen them, and even Canadian Superstore didn't have a lot of selections in beans. Yeah. So I said, okay, I'm buying that because that's the one bean that I don't have, and it's easy to digest. It's a bean that is much easier to digest. Looks like this bill is already fading out. Yeah, as if I can see anything. What is this? And then the little bit of beef that I bought, I grounded most of it up with, like, you know, I cut into chunks and then I grind it up to make like a real beef hamburger. Only it's made from steaks, right? Because I don't like hamburger per se. I don't trust it. And I froze most of that because I want to make Jamaican patties. Right? That's what I did that for. And I got 4 jars in a can, 4 jars with what was left. I don't know why I can't see the beans here. I think it got rubbed off. Anyway, yeah, it's been rubbed off. Anyway, it was only something like $36 or something for the there, you know, a fair amount of beans. I think it turns out to like 28 pounds worth of black-eyed peas. And the only reason I bought them is because I've been looking for them for years and years and years. Couldn't find them. And when I did, they were too expensive. So I never bought them. I always let them slide. And then finally I came across them and I took my opportunity when it came knocking and I bought them. But I don't need to buy them now. I'm good. I'm not buying them no more. All right? Unless I start using them and I decide I really like them and then I want. But other than that, no, I'm not going to do that. And then the chicken, in terms of chicken thighs, I wanted the brown meat, right? Technically, I kind of wanted to freeze them, but whatever. I ended up canning them. I took off half the skin, half of it went in, so about half and half, right? So, you know, there's a fair amount of fat in the jar itself. Technically, these need to go downstairs into Auntie Shemay's room, right? You'll see that I did it in the pot with the water. Worked out really good. I like it because if you notice the headspace, right? You see, that's why I do it, because I have a lot of liquid up there on the headspace. That's what you want, okay? I'm telling you. And then I canned like 2 jars of just the straight up chicken broth in a regular one-size pint jar. Okay. As I'm ranting, doing a video, talking on about, I don't know, being on ground zero in a country that's completely freaking broken, with the Uganda government basically abandoning, I don't know, millions of people right across the country in terms of a country, right? I don't know what the general population is of Uganda, and that's not to mention Kenya and all these other countries. All I know is there's just seems to be a whole lot of people jumping up on the freaking bandwagon and capitalizing one way or another off of village life, right? And or charity work, when a lot of that, what they're doing really is what government is for, in terms of helping the most vulnerable within their constituency. Okay? And as for the naysayers, you can't depend on the World Vision to come in, or UNICEF, or those kind of organizations to come in and rescue the families or the kids. Like, for example, I subscribed to the channel. I came across, and they're in Uganda too, a man and a woman who opened up an orphanage. He's got something like 31 kids already. A lot of them are like really teeny weeny, like little 2-year-olds and 1-year-olds and 3-year-olds. All right? He needs bedding and blankets for them because they're sleeping on the floor. I mean, he had one video up with all the kids in front of the video asking for money from whoever so that he could go buy food for them. And I'm like, holy crumb, like, what the hell? You got an orphan, and then I seen another video of his, and like, this is disturbing for me, people, because, you know, I mean, yeah, we got our problems here in Canada, but well, I don't know what's worse, having children illegally apprehended from loving homes and going through all the bullshit that we went through, or coming across children who've lost their parents, whether the parents abandoned them or whether their parents died or however, but the children are raising themselves and there's nobody to pick up the slack, yay? And then they just gather the children up and walk away through the fields to the orphanage. Like, you'll go out and find a little baby and a little girl living in a meadow with nobody around to be seen. And then just scoop them up and walk away. And nobody says, hey man, what are you doing? You know, you can't have those kids. They don't belong to you. He just wanders off. He could have done anything with those kids, people. Which makes me now think, well, okay, for all this yakety yak going on YouTube, everybody cashing in to one degree or another, whether their intentions are good or bad, with the rumorville that there's a big scam out there, especially in the love department. But, you know, don't be surprised if another one isn't coming in through the back door, right? So if that's the case, don't do nothing and don't be part of the solution. Just stay and remain the problem. Well, everybody's still doing what they're doing. What was the point of that? It's frustrating because for me, I've come to the conclusion that the problem is just too big, and that probably, I don't know, we'll put it at 75%. We'll put it at 75% that whatever YouTuber I've come into contact with by watching their videos, and however they're putting out their content, and however they're doing their because there's different methods and rhyme to reasons and all this other crap, right? Like that man just wandered off, had to jump over freaking ditches and had to walk mile and then, push past the weeds, and finally he came, and then because a woman in the United States gave him $40. And I'm like, $40? What the hell can $40 buy? But it was enough for him to go to town, buy a few clothes for the kids, right? A little bit of food in case they were hungry when he got there, because he went to go get them to take them to the orphanage. Okay? So, and he has to hire a motorcycle person. They have a name for it, right? Like an Uber or something, where he pays the motorcycle person to drive him out to wherever the boonies are, get off, and then walk through the meadows and, walk through the weeds and jump over the ditches. And finally he gets to the place where these children were abandoned. He said that the parents left them. And I'm like, left them? What? He didn't say die. He said left them. And I'm like, both parents just up and walked away from their teeny weeny baby and their daughter? In the middle of nowhere? Like, is this a movie set? Is this real? Is this true what I'm watching? Because it's making me mad. Especially with me working with Lady Jane. Right? And then it being accused that I'm ignorant to the fact that I'm being scammed, me, myself, personally, and I'm like, shut the fuck up, right? Like, like, whatever. So in the meantime, and then he gets there. Let me finish this story because I subscribe to his channel, but for now, he gets there, and he shows the little girl the clothes, and she's all excited. But before she puts them on, she wants to go bathe herself, so she gets this big bowl with some water in it, runs off behind a corner over there, and I guess she bathes herself and then, washes herself down and dresses herself and comes back, right? But he had to do the baby because the baby was too small. We're talking like a 2-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. Like, what happened to the parents? Let them have a little something to eat, gathered them up, carried the child, and walked the way he came in through the meadow, jumping over ditches, and the little girl is clinging on to his hand because she's a little girl. And I'm thinking, holy shit, this makes me think of Amari, just wants to be with us all the time, never wants to be left alone, and that's because they're little. Humans like to be with each other, especially when they're little, right? And she went off as innocent could be with a complete freaking stranger. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm wondering if they've got illegal organ harvesting, trafficking of body parts in Uganda, child trafficking, because we know there's an underground, a black market of seedy side activity going on here, especially with all these vulnerable children being abandoned for whatever reason or another, whether their parents died, whether their parents walk away, who knows? I don't know. I just know that it's a broken country, and it pisses me off because that wave is like a tsunami. It's like whoosh, and you get drowned with it. And you're expected to fix the tsunami because what? You live in Canada? You live in the United States of America? I'm white? So therefore I must be rich? Right? Or what about those people that are inside racist, in terms of a black person being racist against white people and want reparations because of the harm and injury that my kind did to their kind? Some of that shit's going on because when you listen to the scams from wherever that is, with those love deals with the Africans, you know, trying to get people like me to fall in love with some blip on the computer so I can donate, right? You know what I'm saying? They have no remorse because they think that people like me owe it to them because somehow we robbed them of their futures, even though I'm sitting up in fucking Canada facing homelessness myself when I leave this house, right? You're always going to get that, right? Right? Or you're going to get people that don't want you to help the black because, you know, they don't like black people. I mean, you can't win for losing, no matter what you do. It's just, so you just got to kind of weed yourself through it. But the point is, let's get back to this man. Like, if it's that easy just to walk across a meadow, jump over a few ditches, pick up a few abandoned children, and walk off into the yonder with them, with nobody giving a rat's ass about it really at the end of the day, who's to say that children aren't being seriously injured and harmed because of that political process? Because it boils down to a political process because the Uganda government has failed its population in general. Yeah. So that really bugs me, right? Because in comes the scammers, in comes the clowns, in comes the hustlers, in comes the traffickers, right? Oh yeah, for sure. But not everybody is walking on that road. And this is where I tell Lady Jane, I'll put up this video. It might reach a few people where it might piss them off, but at least it gets them thinking and it makes them choose a side. You either stand up or you step back. Right? And she needs to find a way somehow over a period of time as her and I continue to work on program development, however we do it, right? Where she can draw in other YouTubers, big or small, doesn't matter, but people who are sincere to make lasting change for people within their surrounding communities where it's sustainable. Because I basically told Lady Jane that right now, yeah, I'm helping mom, you know, Peter's mom, right? Little Peter and his family and his mom, right? My because Lady Jane asked me to help another child. You see what I mean? The problem just gets bigger and bigger and it becomes a tsunami where she asked me for $350 to put a child that's already in, well, not put, but to help keep a child that's already in school within an upper grade where the fee for the term, whatever the term is, was $350. And that was to keep her where she was at versus if she falls off the grid, can't pay the fee, when she goes back in, just because of the way the system has been built down there, she has to start at the bottom and work her way up to get to where she was before she can go to the next level. And we're talking science, biology, all these other things, because the girl wants to be a doctor. And I'm like, yeah, well, I can't do it because, you know, I have to think about, I've got priorities that I have to deal with too, right? And, you know, I've got to balance my books and I'm already in the red and, you know, I'm in overdraft and I borrowed money here to do that. And, you know, I borrowed money on my personal loan to pay my personal loan so that the next time it should balance out in terms of the next time I get a deposit into my account. Otherwise, I would have been $500 in the hole. And I can't work with that because there's other, like I have to do Andre's teeth. Right? So I have to, you know, I need to get my own footing. Is what I'm trying to say. And I told her that. Like, I'm honest. Like, you know, I can't. And if I'm going to do anything, I just want to focus right now at this point with what we're working on, with who we're working with, because, you know, that in itself is, it shouldn't be a burden for me. It's not my responsibility to look after this family, these two families basically, because I'm kind of helping two at one time, right? The little girl that's 11 by herself looking after her children, her siblings, and then we've got Peter with his mom and his siblings, right? And, you know, I said, well, no, we need to just focus on the floor. You need to give me a quote, right? So that, you know, the one lady that's like in the United States who called me, she offered to help. I said, wait. Just wait. Right? Well, that waiting is, right? Because I've got Lady Jane pricing out a floor. She quoted about 100 and... whatever number she gave me, I rounded off at 175. I think the worker should get a little bit more money, so we'll just say a flat 200, including taxes, I would think, to put in a cement floor in the house, which I think is appropriate. I'm still pushing the goat idea. Apparently, Peter's mom had goats, right? When her husband died, I guess he had goats. But, you know, with the trauma of losing her husband and having kids, and I guess it was hard to keep them under control. So I guess they kind of strayed, and they went off into the neighbor's property and started eating their food. So the neighbors ended up killing the goats. So the mother was reluctant to get a goat, but I said to Lady Jane, go off and, you know, ask again, just in the event of, go talk to the neighbors, let them know that we're willing to build in a pen, that the mother does know how to handle goats because she's had them before. It's not like we're bringing in a whole herd, maybe one or two, and they would be built, like they would be penned in. And if we do the floor, I think we should build the pen at the same time, because you'd have to cement in posts, run wire, and then this way, even if she gets one, that gives her milk either for the children to drink or the milk to make the soap. Or maybe something else. I don't know. Okay? And a pet for the children. A pet. Because goats can make good pets. They have different personalities like humans, right? So we got that on the burner. So she's going to go talk to the neighbors, hopefully. I gave her a suggestion how to approach them, tell them what we were doing, blah, 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 blah. Talk to the mother again. And she's also going to quote out sewing machine, some basic notions, a little bit of fabric, whatever, just to get her started. And a teacher that can come in for 2 months and teach her how to use the machine, etc., right? And I said, okay, well, you put together a quote on that, right? That's what we're right? Because if we do the floor and the mother agrees to try the pen with the 1 or 2 goats, you know, that bill's going to go up to about $400 in total, give or take, with a little extra fresh fruit and meat, and you know how it goes, right? Just top off with whatever's left. And then in that situation, that's where I'd ask my friend in the United States to chip in. And maybe Tisha. So that Lady Jane can get $400 and do what she needs to do. Pay her workers, give them a little extra money so they're happy, they get to go home and give it to their families. Right? Because then they'll do a better job, right? You know what I'm saying? And they'll appreciate program development. They'll see the value around what we're trying to do here. Right? If we respect our workers and reward them for good work, good attitude, right, then it just makes it better for everybody. So even if it's an extra $10, $15, $20, because what she quoted me in labor, in my opinion, is really not enough. In my opinion, compared to the cost of living of Uganda, which is another thing that I'm noticing. This is going to be a long video now. As I'm comparing shillings to Canadian dollars, and then taking those dollars and applying it to how much rice costs here and how much rice, you know, per kilogram, per bag or whatever costs here compared to how much rice costs there, there really isn't that much of a difference in terms of, unless I'm doing something wrong, right? A big bag of rice here, like I'd have to really crunch the numbers, but I'm looking at maybe $36, $37 for a big bag of rice here. I can't remember. 16 kilograms, we'll say. That's 8 and 8. Yeah, 16 kilograms for a big bag of jasmine rice. Simple rice, I think is something like 30, we'll just say $37 here, Canadian, right? Where that same 15 kilogram bag of rice is coming in at $26 for Lady Jane in Uganda. That's not good, people, if their wages are low, right? So 37 minus 26, okay, so there's only $11 difference in terms of value for your dollar for approximately the same amount of rice, right? But if it costs $26, if it costs $26 to buy 15 kilos of rice in Uganda, but you're only paying the worker, I don't know what it was, $20 to put in the floor after you bought all the, like, it doesn't make any sense. Something's missing. And if that's the case, then I'd be an advocate. Maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot, I don't know. But I'd be an advocate to try and up the wage on the worker so that they're making a bit more money for their time and effort. Yeah, I think so. Especially with the cost of living in comparison to, you know, what you get for your money. And that's assuming that I'm formulating this correctly. Okay, so that's the first thing I noticed too, right? In terms of like, so right now she's just gathering up a bunch of quotes. She's starting a new channel just to separate the personal from the charitable, as I advised her to do. Her new content is pretty popular, but then it's YouTube. So, you know, you can't be surprised, right? She gets more views on her quote-unquote new content, like as if it was the beef sector, than she does on her charitable work. Same thing with that man with the orphanage. Has 137K subscribers, but his view count is like 500 on a video of importance. At best, maybe a 1,000, 2,000K speckled in between, but the majority of his view count on his videos are between 4 and, we'll say 700 views, but more average is 500 out of 137K subscribers. How does that make any sense? It doesn't, people. But that tells you where people's priorities are at. And that's why we're at ground zero. Because people find excuses to be just apathetic to the greater problem. But then when people do come in to start solving the problem, this is where the hustlers start coming in. This is where the mistrust and just whatever, and who knows, right? So that's basically where we're at with whatever it is that I'm trying to do here in regards to working on the foundation. I ranted on a little bit about Riley and what's going on with him. I'm glad he's back. It will help in the long run to straighten things out for me. It's just, I was hoping Rio would come by and help me with things, but at some point maybe she might. That will go faster if she does, especially if we've got a mission now, which we're developing and we're working on, because Riley is thinking about, he wants to do 6 to 7 events. 6 events, with the 7th being the park, once a year with the park, and then 6 or 7 or however speckled throughout the year. So, you know, he's not interested in quote-unquote getting paid. He never was about that with us, right? Although if we make any money, it will just go towards the next event to promote the message. I said, so what are we promoting? The message? He said, yes, we're promoting the message. And, you know, so from there, we just don't know, right? I haven't even gotten into that part of it yet, but... So, basically, I'm going to put up this video. You kind of get an idea where I'm at with things. I couldn't help that girl that's in school because $350 is just too much for me. I'm already, you know, out in the deep end, so I need to swim myself back to shore. I need to ground myself and plan for the next project. But I think with the next project, I think, you know, for anyone that's serious, I guess you could say, this might be a time to consider contributing towards that next project. Because if Peter's mom says, okay, we'll try the fence with the goat because the neighbors are okay with it, and I miss my goat, and I know it would be a good thing to have in terms of a resource, whether it's milk for the kids or the milk to make soap or milk to trade for food for somebody else that wants to do something with that milk, or whether it's just for peace of mind in terms of a pet that you can form a relationship with, and it brings her a little closer to her husband, because I guess he had goats. So, you know, she's missing her husband, right? So it would be like therapy, mental therapy, right? There's so many advantages to having a goat, right? Then in that situation, if we're putting in a floor, then yeah, we're going to have to put in a pen at the same time. Just do them both at the same time. The men are there, right? Put them to work for a couple of days, you know. And then in a situation like that, then yeah, it would be nice if people would consider helping me with that. Do not forward me the money. You would forward the money to Lady Jane. I'm not asking you to give me money. I'm just asking you to think about making a donation towards the project to which we are working on, trying to figure out what's the best way to approach it. As for the girl that's in school, I can't take on another responsibility. Not that what I'm doing is a responsibility, because in my mind it should be short term. It's just enough to help the mom get stable and bring in some new skills somehow, some way. I don't know. The problem is massive. Lots of people are taking it for granted. That's clear to see on YouTube. It's something that obviously YouTube likes to run with some channels compared to other channels. And then, you know, like, there's different reasons around it. I just told her to go get her some textbooks with basically her grade level where she's at right now. And being that she is already established with, I would assume, the English language, right? In terms of whatever she's being taught is probably being taught in English. So it's like Shemaine. Give her the book, she'll pick it up, and she'll teach herself. It's just a matter of time, right? It's either going to be in her or it's not. Nothing will stop her if she's gifted. And just because maybe she does a little homeschooling for a little while until somebody else can maybe sponsor her or whatever, you'd be surprised if she's determined what she can figure out for herself. And it just requires a few books. Don't rely on institutional education to educate the population, especially when the institutional education has already failed the population. Because you could be 80 years old and going to college and becoming a professor if you really wanted to at 80, if your mind was up for it. I'm just saying. Learning is a lifelong experience. It doesn't start and stop just because you show up at school. Right? So I feel really bad that I can't help there, because I just don't have that kind of money. And if I'm going to forward money, it won't be $350 from me with my next donation. Probably $250, but it has to be put off for a while because I don't have it. I have to backtrack and catch up with it. But at the same time, if we're going to work on the floor, you know, we might as well add in a few extra things, get we already know Tisha's contributing. So when Tisha's ready to contribute, that's when I'll contribute, so that will cover the floor for sure. That's easy peasy between Tisha and I, right? But if we can get the pen done with the assistance of the neighbors being copacetic to give the lady a chance, Peter's mom a chance, right? Then we'll do that too. And if we can give the workers a bonus, even if it's $10 or $15, $20, well, I think we should. Because then that helps other families. Because the men take home that money home to feed their own families. In light of the economy and how much food actually costs there compared to their wages. Yeah. Because the wages are not nearly enough to keep up with the cost of living, if that makes sense. But I don't know the full logistics around any of that at this point, outside of what I can figure out on my own, just based on buying bags of rice, bags of beans, you know, fish, whatever on my end, and then trying to figure out how much it costs on that end, as Lady Jane is posting how much she's spending here, and here, and it's way out of whack, and I think that's part of the reason why there's so much poverty there. Yeah. So that's something to factor in. So I'm going to leave it here, okay? And we kind of know what I'm up to, right? Nothing major other than just not dropping the ball, right? And my next video should be Lady Jane's follow-up video. But I have to sit here and do it, but my eyes have been really wigged out, and I haven't really wanted to do much of computer other than what I've been doing, and I've got lots of things I have to do. I'm worn out physically. I'm really worn out. Eyes are getting worse. You know, it's just whatever. I had a little fallout with Andre with his hormones kicking in, getting mouthy. Right? You know, just stupid shit. Okay, so I'm gonna upload this as is, okay? So you've seen this, and now you're gonna see me canning, or talking about canning, or whatever I bought, the beans, why I did it. And you've seen the result, right? I got a lot. I don't know how many. I got 2 full cases in a bit, so 24 jars plus. I don't know, something like that. 15, 24. Yeah, I probably got, well, 28 jars. 28 jars. And 2 jars of chicken broth, for sure. And 1 jar of fish heads for either to make fish broth for clam chowder, or it will strictly be cat food when the shit hits the fan and Armageddon rolls around the corner. Or maybe it might even be people food, because I always say people come first. If it says cat food on the jar and I'm not around because my time has come, if that's all you got to eat, don't worry about the cats. You can give them a little scrap. They'll go catch rats and mice and whatever. But you can eat it as well, because there's nothing wrong with it. The only thing it might not have is a little bit of salt. That would be the only thing. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, I'm just going to talk for a minute here. This is May 13th of 2024 now. Obviously, I'm busy, right? So I haven't had a chance to work on that corner with the motherboard in its hair, right? With the Royal Canadian Mounted Police as the handlers, as they were protecting the suspect who was under suspicion of murder because of what was going on with Sierra Chorney, my oldest daughter, behind his door. Right? So anyway, Canadian Prepper You know, he always likes to bring up these robots and how the technology is so in advance. So advanced, right? The only thing is, they're all mechanical. You know, they're not what's in society. I already seen what was in society. So I made a post. And before I leave this channel, because I'd be very surprised if it stayed there and didn't get deleted in light of what I'm saying here, I'm noticing that he's got 1.28 million subscribers. I seen this dude in a movie, in some futuristic movie, where he was a bad guy that was, like, you know, captured, and the sheriff or whoever was, like, on a spaceship, you know, whatever, taking him to some planet to put him away, as in, like, a prison. Anyway, something happened, and the spaceship got distracted, and it crashed somewhere else, and he ended up, because he was a really bad guy character. He was a really bad character. Didn't give a shit about anybody or anything. And he had an opportunity to get off the planet after all this drama and everything. And he was going to leave and escape. But, I don't know, some chick was there. I said, no, we got to go back and get the people that are left behind because, you know, everything was blowing up. And he didn't want to, but he ended up doing it. So somehow he kind of became like a nice guy for a moment. Anyway, he did get free. But the point is, he's an actor. I've seen him in a movie. Anyway, in light of the robots that he likes to bring to the forefront here.
This is a robot from the Unitree company. Now, most people don't know this, but Boston Dynamics was the company who kind of pioneered.
Exactly. Did you see how it walked? All you have to do is put a skin suit on it, people. That's it.
A lot of this sophisticated humanoid robot stuff and the quadrupedal stuff. Yes, there was the Asimov robot by Honda, but Boston Dynamics really took it to the next level. Boston Dynamics was funded by DARPA, the Defense Research Projects Agency.
Anyway, this is my comment. These so-called robots, they are introducing into society are already in mainstream society. Except humans are not noticing it. I have come into direct contact with one via posing as a coroner for the province of British Columbia, Canada. RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Right? Were the handlers. And the thing was creepy. My camcorder captured the true identity, and it was not human. When I take a still picture of it to a editing program I have, where I can put its face under exposure, it had a motherboard, processing board in its hair, as that is what exposure reveals. People have no clue how corrupt our society is. So I'm just wondering if maybe he's controlled opposition being that he's in the movie industry and YouTube props him up. I'm just saying. And then I said, my oldest daughter was lured to her death, and the RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, covered up her murder, being they were protecting the suspect, in that case it would be John Hart, who lured Sierra to her death as a robot coroner played human. But again, my camcorder video taped that face. Okay, so now it's May 17th of 2024. I don't know why I'm creating myself more work, but I am. As if, but I think I do this for several different reasons. Anyway, I'm thinking to buy bone-in sirloin steak club pack ×2. They're selling at $19 each. I save $24 per pack. Okay? You have to pay for the fat, people. I think it's coming, yeah, it's coming in at $9.99 a pound. On sale. On sale. Huh. Right? It's like $20 a pound. Anyway, this is at Canadian Superstore. No substitutes. If you don't have it, don't give it to me. Other than that, it's only costing me $5.28 for $2.64 each. And I can only get a maximum of 2. So I'm going to get the 2. And then I'm going for some cheap bleach. Hold on a minute. We're going to go through this. Oh, my Lord. I just brought some... I changed my speakers. I vacuumed out my computer. I changed this mouse, but obviously this mouse isn't working, right? There we go. I can't see it. That's half the time I can't even see it. There we go. Alright, so we're keeping the yogurt. I'm staying with the cheap bleach, no substitute. 2 coconuts, no substitute. And then, as I was looking, I found beef. More beef, because I told you, I'll buy beef, right? More beef. Club pack at $5.97 a pound. And that's beef sirloin tip steak, which is fine, easy enough to can, at $5.97 a pound. Or I will grind it up along with that other meat. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I'd like to grind some up and then freeze a few for Jamaican patties and that type of thing, right? Okay, or I may can some. I'm not sure yet because I got other things here I want to can first. But beef can sit in the fridge for almost up to a week without having to worry about getting it in the canner ASAP. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating myself a power can. Basically with meat and seafood products. And there goes that freaking mouse again. Oh my Lord. There we go. Okay. Andre's always eating macaroni, so I'm just going to pick up 1 bag. No name. For as fast as he goes through it, it all pretty much boils down to the same thing. And then there's hot pickled banana peppers rings, which I may put in when I'm canning with the mackerel, because I'm getting some frozen mackerel. I'll show you. Oh yeah, and as I'm looking, I came across whole, wild, pink salmon, frozen, They're coming in at almost a little over 2.5 pounds each at $8.73 each. And I've decided to get 5 of them. Where is it? Where's that fish? There it is. I've decided to get 5 of them. I'm going to try and just keep a couple frozen. I'm just playing with this. More than likely, try and keep a couple frozen whole as is, because Andre says he likes salmon, as well as can. And the reason I'm doing that is, 1 is because it's wild. 2, it's at $3 a pound, which is pretty good, right? It's cheaper to do it for me this way than it is to continue buying salmon in a can. But the thing is, I don't buy pink salmon anymore because I have enough of it in a can. What I'm still buying, though, is the sockeye salmon because it has more nutrients in them. However, when I went to go read the nutrients on this, they were almost in par with the sockeye salmon. But when you buy pink salmon in a can, for whatever reason, it doesn't list the same nutrients. So I don't know. But at $3 a pound, I mean, you can't go wrong. I don't care if it's frozen, right? Yeah, and they're small, so whatever. I'll deal with it when that time comes. So I'm getting 5 of those. So we're definitely canning fish. So that's 100 minutes in front of the canner. And I do have jars. I have mainly pint-sized jars. Yeah, and a few half pints. I've got no quarts, nothing like that, but I'm not too worried about that. I don't want to can in quarts. And then, I don't know how I started to think about shrimp. You know, what was it I wanted to can? Yeah, I was just, it crossed my mind, and then I kind of Googled it, and I looked at a couple of videos on YouTube, and now technically shrimp don't have no nutrients. Nothing listed anyway. Very little for what it's worth in terms of the amount of money you pay. But, you know, I want to make sushi and stuff like that. And so I just thought maybe it might be nice to have a piece of shrimp in the middle of your sushi or something. And, this one is on sale. I'm getting, what is it? How many packs? 2 for $7 a pack. And that's just shrimp. I thought I'd try it, and they're raw. I read one article where it says it's best to have it fresh. I'd have to go to T&T and buy them fresh. Right? But either or, I'm going to try them raw. I mean, frozen. Of course, you unthaw them because you have to cook them in brine first, and then, but I mean, it would be, I'm doing a seafood, little bit of a seafood melody here between the shrimp and the salmon and mackerel. They also had mackerel. I'm only saving $2 on the mackerel. But again, it's coming in at $3 a pound, I think. Right? And I thought I'd try that. And I would probably use a tablespoon of oil with this, with a few slices of that hot banana pepper. I think that would be really good. Yeah, I'm thinking to try that just for the sake of trying it. And I got 3 packages. Right, at $7 each, which works out to like $2 and some odd cents a pound. Now I have canned mackerel in a can, but I just want to do something different. I'm depressed, people. I miss Shmay. I miss Sierra. I miss Uncle John. Oh, I so do. I miss everybody. Yeah, I miss the good old days. That's what I'm missing here. And I'm thinking, I said to Andre, these I don't really have any room left in my room to be putting anything that I'm canning here for the most part into my room. And even if I had a choice, I would prefer to put these downstairs, the fish, right? So it will give me a reason to go downstairs and start dealing with downstairs. The problem with that though is, you know, I get fucking harassed. Like, you know, I'm imposing. You know, I'm not moving fast enough or whatever, right? And like it makes it so hard to go downstairs. I practically avoid it. And then what happens is, because I'm avoiding it, you know, I'm sheltering myself. Shelter in place upstairs, right? You know, it's like stupid. But besides that point, I'm thinking maybe if I do this, it will give me a reason to start poking around in Auntie Chemay's room. Because I have to get down there, people, and check my jars, right? That takes time. I have to move things around. I have to reorganize and shit. They put a real monkey wrench in whatever it was that they did down there in terms of, like whatever. Anyway. And then there's some tiger prawns, the big ones, right? I think the first pack of shrimp were small. I don't know. We'll can them as we get them. But I'm specifically choosing larger shrimp, hoping that they won't turn to mush. If they get a little rubbery, that's okay, because this just would be in the center of a sushi roll or something, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. And even for something like this, you could put in banana peppers just to flavor it up a bit with lemon. That would be good, maybe. Right? And I have lemon juice downstairs in a bottle. So, but I've also got some in my fridge up here as well. And there goes that mouse again, right? Oh, lordy, lordy. Oh, man, come on, wasting time. Oh, Lord. The mouse, like, it goes translucent. I don't see it. And then it flies around. All right. And then canning and pickling coarse salt, just 2 of them. Just because, you know, it's coming into that season and I don't feel like running around the house looking for salt right now. So I got 2 anyway. I'll probably do pickles and stuff over the summer. And then organic peeled raw black tiger shrimp. So again, shrimp, more shrimp. And I got just like 1 pack of each, so, you know, it's okay. And then they had chicken thighs on sale for $2.99 a pound. The substitute is chicken thighs value pack, club pack, I think at $5.99 a pound. So I don't give me the substitute. Give me what I order at $2.99 a pound. That's the only reason I'm buying the chicken thighs. Now, I did buy chicken legs that are in the fridge. I bought them like yesterday from Walmart, and they're in the fridge. I got tired. I didn't want to cook them up. I'm going to vacuum seal some. I'm just going to freeze them, right? Right? Because I wanted to, you know, have fried chicken legs. Tomorrow I'll fry chicken legs. Anyway, if I want, I can wait, because this is being delivered on Saturday. I could probably wait until Saturday, leave a few chicken legs out and can them up with the chicken thighs, because that's what I'm basically getting them for, times 2. And that's $34 for 2 packs at $2.99 a pound versus $5.99 a pound or more. Right? And I like chicken thighs. It's strictly brown meat, right? So that's why. I mean, I have chicken this, chicken that. I said I wasn't going to do any more chicken, but I'm obviously going into some power can right now. You know, this time next year, I probably won't be able to can anything. So whatever. It will, and that, if I do the fish, the salmon, the mackerel, and even the shrimp, I know I'm going to want to put those downstairs. So that I have to go downstairs. I don't have an excuse. And if they don't like it because I'm starting an Auntie Shimei's room and I'm not moving out that shit that they fucking created, if they would have left it alone, it would have been done and over with by now, people. And like, oh, you don't even know. Anyway, and then a bag of carrots. Because I'm going now for my $300. If you spend $300, you're supposed to get a free gift. So they better give me my free gift. Oh yeah. Otherwise, I would have stopped at $275. And I'm like, $275? If you go another $25 more, you can get a free gift. I'm not sure what it is, but whatever. It will work. And then I got some onions. A bag of onions. Yellow onions. $4. One red onion. Now, I don't really need these potatoes. But if I work fast over the next week or two, it's a 20-pound bag. I am going to dehydrate at least half of that to 3/4 of that bag. Because I just bought potatoes yesterday. I bought a small bag of 5 pounds of white potatoes and 10 pounds of yellow potatoes. And I still have red potatoes that need to be used up that are getting kind of like, because, right? But these are fresh. So I would take the time to, what I want to do is I want to cut them into, I have old ones around the house, but I don't know where they are. I never get downstairs anymore. Everything's all mixed up. In that other food prep area, I still get just so sad about the whole situation. Like I feel so, oh, you don't even know. Anyway, I don't want to shred them versus maybe cutting them into squares and having them for like hash browns after they're dehydrated. And I mean, $10 for 20 pounds, you can't go wrong, right? And they're nice when they come in like this. I know because I've had them before, but you have to kind of get to them right away. You know, sometimes potatoes, I put them in my bedroom because it's cold, in a cool, dark place, and they'll sit there for a month, but I get so busy I forget about them, right? So this time I'm just going to cut to the chase, and I'm just going to basically dehydrate a half a bag to 3/4 of a bag and just muck around with them because I dehydrated those McCain French fries and stuff, right? So, I want to compare the two as I go about doing whatever I'm going to be doing with that. And then because I was trying to bring up my bill to $300, I added in 2 clip-on top jars at 3.6 liters, which is almost the size of a gallon. Right? Because I'm trying to avoid buying containers. But honestly, I do prefer using glass. And there's if I had it my way right now, honestly, I'd order another 8 1-gallon size jars because I've got things sitting in plastic bags that I would prefer to put them, like the French fries, right? But I'm trying to avoid ordering another 8 more 1-size gallon jars. But I don't know. I'm going to try these 2 just for the sake of it. As I'm going around the house looking for other containers and stuff. So I brought my total up anyway to $311.13. Now, obviously, there are savings in there, right? No, I don't want to substitute on these jars. I want that size. If you don't have that size, then don't give it to me. Alright, so most of everything here, oops, and same thing with the potatoes. I don't need them. I'm only buying them because I don't shop at Canadian Superstore very often. And the last time I bought these potatoes, I was impressed. But knowing me, I have 2 choices. I can either give a whole bunch to my son, and that alleviates my problem, or I can just cut to the chase and dehydrate them for the most part, and then you know, blend them in with my McCain's. My McCain, like I might cut some of these as French fries. Of course, you have to blanch them and then dehydrate them. So maybe I'll cut some French fries, and then I'll cut little squares for hash browns. And then we have our comparison group with blanched dehydrated potatoes, dehydrated for French fries or hash browns, versus McCain's French fries and hash browns dehydrated. And then when I'm ready to do a video on that, we can do a comparison between the two products. Oops. Here's an idea. And then this way nothing goes to waste. Nothing spoils, because I'll use them up within 2 weeks. If I leave them in my room too long and forget about them, forget it. And I just want one red onion. That's all I need right now. Now I got onions that have been sitting in my room for like ever, and they're still pretty good. So I'm going to use them up fast, and that's why I'm buying another. I don't want to substitute. Just give me a 3-pound bag of onions. And I hang those in my room, and they'll last for like a couple of months, man. They're good. And I don't want the substitute on the carrots. Give me what I want, or I don't want it. Pretty much. And we know why I'm getting the chicken thighs. $2.99 a pound. Yeah. So, now the question is, do I do this? Hold on a minute. So, again, by shopping this way, assuming that everything goes through and I get exactly what I want, my estimated savings is $101, which really isn't that bad, people. Like, it's not. That's pretty good, actually. $3 a pound for salmon, like, come on. And you know what? That salmon wasn't even on sale, okay? This is other stuff that was on sale, like the beef. Okay.
People, almost 1.2.
Okay,
right?
people.
It's rising, and the actual systems have gone.
This is... okay, you just seen what I did. I saved myself $100. I have the jars that are just sitting by my light switch in my kitchen, waiting for fruit to go inside them. When I'm ready to can fruit, I can go buy more jars, okay? Alright, I told you that if beef comes on sale, I'm buying. Just, okay, so I bought, right, $5.97 a pound times 4 packs or whatever, 5 packs or whatever it was. Plus I bought the fatty beef because, you know, I'm going to be grinding it up because I don't buy hamburger. I grind it up and I freeze it, and I want to make Jamaican patties. And if I make hamburger burgers, like burger patties, I use the ground beef that I grind from real beef. Okay, and like Andre will cook up 6 at a time. He eats 3, I eat 3, little to Mari. And yeah, like, and it's, you know, those are frozen though. Those ones I freeze, right? But even if I wanted to, people, I could freeze, I could can the beef if I wanted to, because this right here, no, I just push send. It took me hours to get that shopping list in order, seriously, because I kind of like, I technically, you know, I'm dipping into my bills. I'm paying the bare minimum on my bills to squeak in whatever I'm squeaking in. And I squeaked in that. It wasn't anything that I really needed, other than, you know, I'm doing a power can for whatever reason. Obviously, I'm bringing in more seafood products, the salmon, the shrimp, the mackerel. That's all seafood, right? And so, you know, and it's high, minus the shrimp. The shrimp is more like the comfort food with the sushi, where the salmon was bought with intent because of the nutrients around it. Same thing with the mackerel, because of the nutrients around it. And I could put oil, at least in the mackerel. I suppose I could put a little bit of olive oil in with the salmon, which would, you know, bring up the calorie count. And you know, if it's jarred up, right, you know, even if the power goes out, you're not sweating it, right? I just turned this on. Over 1 million people in Texas so far. Over 1 million people in Texas so far, for whatever reason, have all lost their power. Now, I think yesterday, was it yesterday? Because we're in a new day now. Some barge ran into a bridge. Okay, so let's listen to what Patrick has to say here.
Gone offline, right? The power outage reporting systems in Texas and Houston area have gone offline.
2 states too. It's not just Texas.
Because so many people are reporting it, so the numbers are probably actually much higher. And look at this damage. These are the pylons. These are the power line towers that carry the lines all throughout Houston.
Okay, you're kidding me here. Okay, are you kidding me? All of a sudden, out of the blue, okay.
And Texas, and they're destroyed. They've been completely...
It will take years to put that back together. And that's assuming that they can even get the transformers from China.
destroyed.
They've been talking about this crap for a long time.
These transmission towers. This is insane. I've never seen this happen.
I gave my son, I spent $53 for it, for a little freezer temperature alarm, and it came with the fridge. I told him he could use the fridge part for himself. I don't care, right? I wanted I got the one for the freezer, and I gave it to him to set it up and to monitor the freezer, because my freezer is, you don't even want to know how old that one is downstairs, the big one, right? And if the power went out, something like this, I'd be canning outside, scooping up on jars, right? Because what else would you do other than give it away?
Done before. I've never seen this. And Texas is under extreme wind and weather warnings right now. Same thing with Louisiana. And the system is actually moving to the east right now.
It's a little windy where I'm at right now.
So it's going to hit Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia.
So what is he saying? This was done by winds? Okay.
Florida, South Carolina, they're already having power outages as well. You can see right here, look at this, guys. This is not good. 900,000 people in Texas alone. That number is probably much higher because they took the systems offline for some of the major providers in Texas because their systems were crashing because so many people were reporting. 200,000 plus in Louisiana. All right, 10,000 in Mississippi, 12,000 in North Carolina. This is not good. And this is in the middle of the night. People's power is out. This is why it's...
So exactly how waterproof
Hold
is the
on.
bearskin soft shell jacket?
Yeah, it's windy outside.
People are always
Actually should grab a
making
couple
jokes about
candles.
it.
Find the
Pat's
flashlights.
telling everyone to fill up their tanks again.
Find the
Right, Pat's telling
flashlights, Andre.
people
It's
to
really windy. The
get
wind
their
is
gas
picking up.
tanks filled and get their water tanks filled. And this is why. This is why.
Huh?
Flashlight.
Yeah, find another one.
Flashlight.
Okay, well, just keep them close by. Grab one.
I'm taking the big one. Right into the left.
Where's the silver one?
Down there.
Okay, I just
I want to put it
charged.
on charge.
Yeah, I just had it charged. Okay, yeah.
Right here. There's a generator right here. All right, my generator. I've shown you guys.
Okay, I just wanted to show you that.
On shut down and won't be open till the end.
He thinks it's going to take months to repair this. 1 million people without no power for months? Okay.
End of May. So how long is it going to take to repair this? This does not look good, guys. This is a very bad sign. You can see here, here's some more damage. It looks like multiple tornadoes went through the Houston area, and this building here, this restaurant or whatever, was completely destroyed. All right, this is in downtown Houston. This is insane that this is going on. And you can see here these pylons, these transmission towers are just wrecked, destroyed. All right, so this is not going to be fixed overnight. and people in Houston could potentially have power out for months, right? At least certain areas. And I know that sounds scary, but I'm telling you, I have been through dozens of hurricanes down in Florida, okay? And this was probably 20 years ago now, right? Almost 20 years ago, 15 to 20 years ago now, where our power was out for 2 weeks straight. It was just out. And our neighbors, after a week or so across the street, they got their power on. All right. So literally across the street, right across the street, we walked across the street. We ended up storing our food and stuff in our neighbor's fridge across the street. So we could.
Before I moved into this house, I lived in that fourplex where they were running that grow op. Had the power cut off at the freaking pole there for like 12 days in October, middle of October. You know how cold it gets at night? It killed my fish. I had big, I can't remember the name. It started with a C, but they were big fish, like big, right? And I had a Picosmus. I had a Picosmus almost as long as my freaking computer screen. Yeah, almost as long. And it got so cold, it killed it. Killed everything in that fish tank. I was so mad. Yeah, because of negligent landlords, basically, that were running grow ops and stealing hydro from their tenants. That's exactly what was going on. Yeah. It was a big cover-up after the fact, too. Yeah. And then I moved in here. Oh, joy.
At least have some food to cook, right? Because they got their power on a week earlier than us, and then we were still.
It's been rough, but a leaky boat is better than no boat, right? It's just I get depressed with it, that's all. That's why I did my shop. Kind of depressed, right? Who cares about money? I don't care. I'll just barely make my bills this month, but that's good enough for me because I won't be canning no fish next month, that's for sure. I will attempt to do it tomorrow. Well, no, it'd be Sunday or Monday. Sunday. It's coming in frozen, so it buys me a couple of days because it'll go in my fridge for the most part, except for the ones that maybe I want to try and keep frozen. But I have to find space for them. Good luck. Right? And it's not like I can go downstairs and poke around in my big freezer either because, again, everything's so hard, right? I gotta check my jars down there and there's things I gotta do, but I can't feel sorry for myself.
Still sitting over here for a whole nother week with our power off. I'm telling you guys, it could take a long time. I've sat without powers for over 2 weeks.
Well, it's hard to say if they have the transformers or not, right? Depends how damaged the transformers are. Okay, so it's May 19th of 2024. My favorite spot. Only it's not so much my favorite spot anymore. Kind of just doing whatever, right? I'm moody. I don't know if I should talk about this or not. Because it kind of goes down to if you got nothing good to say, don't say it. But then on the other hand, this is YouTube. People say all kinds of shitty shit and make thousands of dollars just talking smack. Talking just bullshit crap, right? Cutting each other down, whatever. There's 2 different groups of black women cruising the YouTube streets right now. Yeah. Well, there's more than 2, but the main 2 that I come across for whatever reason is connected, one to the beef sector with the reaction channels and just that, right? Just picking on each other and gossiping and beating each other up, bragging about what they have and cutting other people down for what they don't have. And just whatever. And then more recently, right, I approached that African woman in Uganda, and then it was brought to my attention that she might be a scammer, and of course I had to defend her, right, because I donated a whole whack of money. And because when I came in, she wasn't doing what she was doing now, which I don't necessarily want to be a part of. I don't, because I don't want to cut her up, people, because it's not easy doing charitable work. That's the first thing. And it isn't anything that I would expect anybody to commit their lives to, because at the end of the day, you're going to end up with empty pockets, with a whole lot of people criticizing you for one reason or another for everything that you ever did. And most of it will be just off to the wayside, and people won't acknowledge anything, because they always expect you to give more and more and more and more and more and more from group to group to group. Like, not right, it's just I don't know what it is. But then on the other hand, I kind of feel betrayed, right, because the person that I'm supporting right now in terms of an African woman with the charity aspect, I guess you could say, of YouTube, kind of dropped the ball. And now, I did do another $220 donation a week ago, and I'm waiting for the follow-up video. But I don't know how she's going to insert that follow-up video with her string of when a man wants to F a woman, or whatever, or when a woman is ready for sex, and just like, that's not what I signed up for, people. That's, when I gave her the money, she wasn't doing that shit. She told me she was not leaving her village, and she was going to stay and help her village. And now she wants to travel the fucking world giving advice to frickin' men, as if men are going to listen to it. As I've got people needling in my ear saying, well, maybe you came across a scam and you just don't realize it yet. And I'm like, I've been sleeping on it, and it's been bugging me, and I'm trying to give this woman the benefit of the doubt, Jane. Not everybody sees YouTube as a meal ticket to get fucking fame. Clearly not me, right? Or make lots of money for self-gain. Clearly not me, never was me, right? And like, ultimately, at the end of the day, YouTube is a very negative site. It promotes a lot of satanic symbolism, and I don't want to say it's involved with child trafficking, because it tries to portray itself like it doesn't. But, every now and then I come across shit that just, kind of leans towards that direction where, I've caught them in the act, people, with the shadow banning of my videos, and just what they promote and how they promote it, and what's behind the promotion in terms of that satanic rituals when it comes to child sacrifice. They're very selective about the predictive programming that they let people see through their videos in terms of YouTube and the algorithm, right? And they're very subliminally suggestive with their ads, and where they place them, and how they place them, and why they place them, and with what videos, and so that you're left with an impression after the fact. And if you're of like criminal mind, like, it just feeds into human trafficking to one degree or another, or the exploitation of vulnerable men, women, and children. I'm not even going to center it around children, because it's more than just children. like in, I don't remember what state it is, but there's a state in the United States where a lot of young black men are going missing, like in large numbers every year from a particular districts, counties, right? Within states. It's almost like a given, between the ages of, we'll just say 20 and 40 years old, right? Like men that like work jobs, and these are African American men, right? Or just whatever, right? And like, obviously nothing gets done, not to mention all the women that are being murdered. Go to Truth for Reality's channel and you'll see how many African American women, young women like Shimei, get murdered. Right? And that's not to mention the numbers of people going missing. Just whatever, right? Like, I don't know why I even do these videos anymore. Nobody's interested in goodwill. No, not really. Not really. They're like, I don't know. They're stuck between capitalism and what? Survivalism, right? They have a strong need to gain as much money as they can gain by any means necessary, even if it means subliminally putting out there that you've sided with the devil versus with the Lord, just so that you can gain notoriety, notoriety, right? And obviously money. But there's a big cost to that. Okay, so basically, now I'm waiting for these follow-up videos, but I don't see them coming. And even if they come, I don't know, people, I'm between a rock and a hard spot now, because a week has gone by and I keep coming across these other African women channels with their welcome to my village, right? You remember I said we're not looking at a movie set? Well, I'm starting to question it, because looking at other people's channels, black women from Africa, Kenya, Uganda, I think there was one other person in there from a different country in Africa. Anyway, I've looked at 4 different channels. Welcome to my village, or whatever. And I'm wondering if some of these women came from the same school. Seriously, if they were in a school, it's funny how the mind works, right? And I'm like, okay, you've got this person, and this person. This person up here is doing something that this person down here you've seen do in their videos, while this person over here is kind of doing what everybody is doing, right? Right? And this one up here is specifically showing satanic symbolism within her videos, as she's kind of got her hand near her crotch, playing, right? And I'm like, okay, right? And it's a fashion show yet to boot, trying to make herself look sexy. Okay, and then they're all, well, I'm just a young lady trying to be humble. I'm just a young lady trying to be humble. I'm just a young lady trying to be humble. And I'm like, that's not humble. That certainly went off on left fucking field there, and there's nothing humble about that over there anymore. As for that one's not really saying anything outside of just videotaping the daily grind of people that live in these villages or out in the desert as they're cutting down bush to start their little fires to cook their food in aluminum bowls that I suppose you can call them pots. And I'm thinking, well, what's going to happen when there's no more bushes to cut down? Right? Because you had to walk. I don't know how far you had to walk to go get it. And then you had to walk back. Right? I mean, eventually there's not going to be any bushes to cut down. So what, do they just pack up and move to a different area where there's more bushes? And the bushes themselves are far and few in between. But the point is, this person up here is doing pretty much what this person down here is doing. Really. Only this one's being more brazen about the satanic symbolism. But they're both staging their videos around village life. And I'm like, did they all come from the same fucking school? All graduated pretty much at the same time? And then just went out onto YouTube streets and what? I mean, there's some backroom deals going on in here, people. For sure there is. What they are, I don't know. I told you, when my spidey senses go up, I'd let you know. Now, we could be just dealing with copycats. People do that. Right? Clearly, there's a whole slew of African black women exploiting poor people in villages for views. Whether they're making their revenue off of ads for the bigger channels that like have like 40,000 subscribers. I think one had 127,000 subscribers. One of them, and I seen more than 4 channels, and one of them had like one or two of them had no links for like contact for donation or nothing like that. So they're strictly collecting money on their ads. But they don't stand up for, they don't represent anything. They're not like, like these people that are living day to day, cooking on little fires as they scrounge around. In one video from a different channel, they had to walk to the river. I guess it was a river. Must have been a river because it had to have been fresh water, because they were drinking dirty water from the frickin' river, people. And all I could think was guinea worm. That's how guinea worm gets into the body. But yeah, no, they walked miles and miles to get to however long it took them to get to the river to go gather up branches, I guess, that were washing in on the tide so they could cook their food on. And I guess they gathered up some water too. And then the woman went off and got some water in this thing, handed it to a man that was sitting there, and clearly you could see it was dirty because it came right out of the fucking river, and he just drank it. Okay. And like, I don't know where all these black African women are all of a sudden popping up on my freaking, when you go on just whatever, right? It's like one after another, and they're all kind of advertising the same thing, right? Some are more talkative than others. And I feel like they just were all in one classroom at one point, and they passed their test, and they were released onto society all at one time, and told to go make money, and told to go make money. Another one I seen, they were, I think it was in Kenya, I don't know. I'm confused. So I've been watching quite a few of them because I'm trying to figure this shit out. I don't think any of them are interested in helping on a charity level. I really don't. I feel like I'm kind of in a brothel just because of the sexual undertone around a lot of it, with no substance outside of what you see visually, perhaps, when you see an African woman cooking food on an open fire in a aluminum bowl that's supposed to be a pot for her family, mainly children, and they're all sitting around eating with their fingers out of bowls. I see a lot of that. And I mean, clearly they're not collecting welfare sitting up in some freaking village off in the boonies or out in the desert where you have to walk a mile just to get to the river to go get water and firewood. So, like, they're living from day to day, right? While these African women are recording this and what? Exploiting it? Becoming famous because of it? Where some of them ask for donations and other ones don't, whether it's personal, well, basically personal donations. So hold on. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be doing any of this stuff next year. Whatever that doctor did, he ruined my eye. If you notice, I didn't say eyes. Andre, be quiet. Right. This one's too far gone. Whatever he did to this one, he ruined it. I don't care what he says. No. My intentions were, I had it put away. I had it, right? I just never put this way yet. But you see, here's the thing. I'm looking at two different worlds. Okay? I'm looking at the Western world. I wash jars, so jars are ready to go. I have to can chicken thighs and a little bit of beef. The rest of it, I ground it up. I had to take the ice from up there, and I put it there for Jamaican patties. Ground up steak, basically. Yeah, I froze it. So anyway, we're looking at two different worlds here. In the Western world, you know, with the inflation and hyperinflation, whatever you want to call it, cost of living, with the flood of immigrants from everywhere becoming the preferred citizen, as vulnerable families like mine are being targeted and snuffed out little by little, surely by surely. Well, the middle class that are still hanging on want to ignore that fact, but besides that point, right. And with the supply chain disruptions, threat of war, World 3, climate issues that are more than likely man-made through a clandestine boil the frog without the frog realizing it's boiling as a means to depopulate the planet. I don't know how these women in Africa seem to think that they're insulated from that agenda. Because for all that they put out there with their videos, it looks to me like everybody, for the most part, when it comes to quote-unquote villages, whether they're up in the desert or in the bush, it doesn't matter, are eking out a living on a daily basis and just barely surviving, as a large majority of them cook their food on an open fire as they're scrounging around looking for wood with no money, basically. And if they do have money, well, they're not really saying where it's coming from, these YouTubers, right? I guess the women just wait for the husbands to come home with the food. I don't know. And when the husbands die, the women are left on their own to fend for themselves because there are no safety nets. I seen a video where the young African lady, the humble one, there's a few of them in there, went to the mall, some mall. I can't remember if it was in Uganda or Kenya. Anyway, went to the mall and was pointing out how there weren't that many shops open. And she asked someone, she brought a friend with her, right? And she was telling the story. I come to the mall and there's not that many stores open. There's empty, and I went and spoke to somebody about it, and that has a shop, and basically the rents are too high. And I'm like, well, can't you figure it out? In my head, I'm thinking now, I wanted to, can't you figure it out? Right? It's called laundering of money. China likes empty buildings, and Chinese aren't the only people that like empty buildings, because empty buildings represent a means to launder money. Right? They build them just to launder money. They don't care if they got people or things inside of it. After it's built, it's a tax write-off for the bigger corporations that do that crap. Illegal organ harvesting isn't just happening in British Columbia, Canada. God forbid now. But they have to launder the money somewhere now, don't they? Yeah, like that building across over there that's still sitting 3/4 empty, pushing on 3 years later with a leaky basement, as they're going to be building another one, tearing down all the old growth trees out here, killing off the birds and the wildlife, flushing out poor families like mine. Yeah. To bring in immigrants and set them up with their subsidies this and subsidies that, and get them into housing ASAP because an available house showed up. You don't think that shit's not going to start happening in Africa? Yeah, it is. I seen a video where you have to pay 200 shillings just to use a public washroom. Probably because, and it was in a slum area. Probably because they're homeless. So they make the homeless pay to use a public washroom? Well, what if they don't have 200 shillings? Where did they go? And that's another thing. The United States, Canada, but most definitely in the United States, they're killing millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of birds month after month after month for one reason or another. But it all boils down to, I guess you could say, bird flu. As they're out to attack the cows. Go look at these videos in Africa. All you see is chickens running around. Chickens, ducks, everything. Goats, cows. Everybody walking around, half of them in bare feet. You know how dirty chickens are? Oh my God. But they don't have fly problems. I don't hear flies buzzing around. Probably because it's too hot. I just know that chickens are dirty because I had them for a couple of years. You let them run around, everywhere they go, they poo. If there was such a problem with bird flu, why not in Africa? Ain't nobody sweating bird flu out there. Too many chickens to count. That's all you could do all day long is count chickens, and there'd still be more chickens. Where you go to the States, watch a video on the States, and they're killing millions of birds. And now they're culling the beef cattle. Right? Like it's stupid. Like it's like, it doesn't make any sense. And, they're promoting Africa to be organic and peaceful and free. Well, okay, maybe some of that food is organic, but I don't think it all is. No. And can everybody afford it? And if they can, for how much? Like how much can they afford? Right? And if they got empty malls, practically empty malls, well, what is that telling you? We already know China's in Africa, doing this and doing that, cutting deals here, cutting deals there, right? Trying to build freaking something and something else and something else. Do you think the people are going to benefit from all that at the end of the day? No. They're barely making it as it is. They're living from hand to mouth, hand to mouth, hand to mouth. Right? Cooking on open fires. While these YouTubers aren't talking about what's on the horizon in terms of, global famine. But I guess they don't worry about that until it happens. And being that, whoever's recording these things can just pick up and get on an airplane and run away and forget what they left behind after they recorded everything. I don't know, people. It's too simplistic, while it also seems to be quite choreographed. So for the needling in my ear, I am waking up to that fact that some of this stuff that I'm looking at is a movie set. Most definitely. Yeah. That's how I'm starting to see it. Because when you've got young, humble ladies flashing satanic symbolism as they're practically playing with themselves in a fancy-dancy dress, trying to be popular, I'm just saying and acting the same way as this person is talking and acting and doing whatever they were doing, right? This one changed it up a little bit, but at the end of the day, ain't saying anything really of substance other than, well, let my ads make me money. Yeah. So it doesn't leave me anywhere in that mix. No. When you're among a group that doesn't give a shit about anything, how the fuck can you care about anything? Think about it that way. That's a group of a whole bunch of nobodies that want to fucking say they care about something when in fact it's not even about that. What's in the dark will come out into the light. It's going to take a few years for that to catch up to them. But some of them have already signed up with the devil, so I'm sure they'll do fine. Yeah. I'm sure they'll do fine. So I have to put this all back together. I only bought the legs for the thighs for the brown meat, and they were $2.99 a pound. It will get me a few jars, and I'm going to do it the same way like I did it in the last 2 canning runs. I am going to I'm just getting everything ready right now. But I'm moving very slow today. I'm going to take a little bit of the chicken fat off the legs, just some of it. And then I'm going to put water in the pot, right? And I'm going to heat it up, bring it to a boil, add a little salt, turn it down, just cook it for a few minutes, 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something like that. And then I'm going to fill up my jars, and if there's any liquid left, broth after the fact. And then after I do my 75-minute can, I'm going to take that broth and I'm just going to jar them up for 25 minutes. Well, it's a pint, so really I could do 20 minutes. 20-minute bout. Oh, I wish I could see better. I'm going to do a 20-minute bout with the pint-sized jar. Assuming that I get, if I get, I don't know, I don't think I'm going to get 16 jars. So if there's any liquid left, I can just put them in pint-sized jars, different with the small, regular mouth rim, and just cook them up with the chicken and a little bit of beef. I left a little bit, but for whatever beef I bought, I basically grounded it up. Just stuck it up in here. I had to take out the ice, but whatever. And then I got salmon. The salmon came in quite large. I was quite surprised. So.
And ice cream.
Yeah, and ice cream. As if I needed ice cream. It was free though, because I did that shop, right? But whatever. But yeah, no, I'm really discouraged. More than you think. I shouldn't care though, you see, that's the thing. I really shouldn't care. It's none of my business. Why should I care? Like I said, they don't care. Really, they don't. I don't think so. To me, it looks like I said, they all came out of school at the one time and was released into society with the backroom wheelers and dealers telling them what to do, promoting them. They have their managers promoting them when they're not promoting themselves. And they're using different methods to attract subscribers to their channels. Now, don't get me wrong, my channel isn't of anything of substance either, right? But at the end of the day, I'd like to think I always fought the good fight. Right? And then I bought two of these. Well, no wonder why everything's worse than these are my computer glasses. My eyes are shot. Forget it. This doctor ruined my eyes. It's so discouraging. I got two of those. I like them actually. 3.6 liters. That's not too bad. And they're square. So I'm going to end up getting a few more of those along the way, just to finish up what I'm doing. because I do prefer jars for the most part. Right? Yeah. I don't even know if I'm going to upload this video. I don't know. Uh-oh, what was that? Well, you know what? This is where God is with you. Look at that. That's a washer. I need that washer. I was wondering why I was having such a hard time. Now I know. I didn't put the washer on. But if you noticed, I finished it thinking I was done. And just by chance, that fell down and I heard it. If that wouldn't have done that, I would never have known. So maybe what I am saying is something of substance here. For what it's worth. Yeah. Turn it around, got it backwards. There we go. Should be okay now. There we go. It was clueless. Now the washer's in there underneath. In 2 days, I'll be pretty much done. I've got some mackerel, but I don't need to rush with the mackerel. The salmon, I have to, though. I put one in the freezer, and I got 4 in there. One is small, though. Where the other ones are like 2 per bag. Like, I only bought it, people, because it was $3 a pound. I'm paying for pink salmon in a can, $4 a can at 213 grams. $5 a can for sockeye salmon at 213 grams. And that would be water included, right? Where this was coming in at $3 a pound, and I have the jars. So, and it's a fair amount, so I'm probably going to get a fair amount. And the reason I bought it out of, like, beef is the one with the most vitamins and minerals in it compared to chicken and pork, right? And then salmon is the one with the most vitamins and minerals when it comes to other fish that are like standard, right? So that's why I did it. Because I do believe that, and this is another thing, these people are oblivious. Like, they can't be that zoned out where they don't see the global push to depopulate the planet through strategy. Empty malls is one of them, right? There's only so many bushes you can cut down and burn for fuel to cook food, right? Like, I don't know how these African communities' economies run, but I don't think it's also Andre, be quiet. I don't think it's also glamorous living the peaceful life, cooking under the open air. Yeah, okay. I don't know. That's what I mean by exploiting the situation. I don't really have anything much to say other than it's a movie set. And when you do finally think maybe you're helping somebody, or, you know, like little Peter or whatever, like I was doing there for a minute. I don't know, people. I feel betrayed. I feel betrayed. And if I feel betrayed, I can only imagine how, when the food runs out that I helped to purchase for that family runs out, they're gonna feel betrayed. Yeah. Oh yeah. But the thing is, I know, I don't know. I don't want to get caught up in being somebody else's bitch on YouTube, because I'm already YouTube's bitch. I was at 1,004 subscribers, and now I'm at 1,000. So when I say I'm YouTube's bitch, I'm not kidding, right? They like to keep me with low numbers, right? Because I will talk about things that other people don't dare touch with a 10-foot pole, right? So I just gotta get it out of my head. Who cares about these women from Africa? You'll never meet them, right? They don't care. It's pretty obvious, right? For the most part, it's some fucking propaganda movie set, you know. Just, it's, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I'll have to think about it, I guess, for a little while longer and let everything iron itself out, right? Okay, you don't get a lot for your money these days. Either or. That's about 2 layers of chicken thighs. Some with some skin on. I took out a lot, even with the ones with the skin, and then some without, right? There's the skins, which I'm going to turn into chicken fat, as well as crackling. So hold on. Okay, so I'm doing it this way again. So that's the beef. It has a little over a half a teaspoon of salt in it or so. And this one's about a teaspoon or so, right? So you can see I didn't put the water line very high, right? If I need more water, I can always just add water, right? Warm water. Like, heat it up, okay? Same thing with this one. Otherwise, I end up getting a lot of broth, which I don't mind because, you know, I've been canning them. So for any broth that should be left, if there's any left, because I lowered the water line this time, I like them in the regular size mouth jar. Where with the meat, I'm going to be putting them in wide. Plus, I still have more of these wide mouth. So I'll be doing them with the salmon as well. Pint-sized jars. And then that will be it, right? And then I've got mackerel to do. But that's another day. So hold on. Okay, so you can see better than me. I kind of see that boiling. I just turned it down. And this one's cooking, so I just stir everything together. I don't worry about skimming it. Not for this. You know, it just adds flavor, right? So basically, we just want to release the juices into the liquid so that when you put it in the jar raw, if you were to raw pack, you're not supposed to put water in it, because it releases juices when you're raw packing. Although I will add water till it gets to about maybe 3/4 of the jar, assuming that the other quarter that I need will fill up from the meat releasing juices. But this is nice, quick method, and it works pretty good in terms of keeping the liquid in the jar, like, because you get to add, right? And then anything left over, you get like instant broth, which is good, right? So that's why I do it. Otherwise, most people would just fill it up raw with the meat. Half a teaspoon for this size jar, salt per jar. But I'm not doing that. So this is now pretty much where I need it. It's been cooking for a few minutes, so I'm just going to turn it down. And then I'm going to fill up my jars, see what I get. As a matter of fact, I'm going to turn it off. Let it cool down for a few minutes so that when I start working with it, it's not like really, really hot, right? Fill up my jars, see what I get. Pressure can for 75 minutes. And that will be the first batch. And then tomorrow I'll do the salmon and perhaps even the mackerel at the same time. Right? I kind of have to guesstimate how many jars of salmon I'm going to get. Because I just kind of want it. It's 100 minutes. At least 100. You can do 110. But 75 minutes, I think it's 100 minutes. 250 mil is definitely 100 minutes. So I'm going to do 110 with the pint-sized jar tomorrow with the salmon. And I may even do some mackerel. And then I'm just going to leave some frozen, and I'm going to fry them up and try them that way at some point in the future, right? And I got two salmons, I think. They're quite big. For what? $3 a pound, though. Like, where can you get salmon, wild salmon, for $3 a pound? Like, think about it. Okay, so I got everything in the canner there. It's a full canner, pretty much. Minus 2 jars, so 14 jars. Some chicken broth, which is good. Yeah. I think two jars of chicken broth. 8 jars of chicken thigh, which is good. And 4 jars of beef with the beef broth. And then just a little bit of left in the fridge there, which I'll blend in with Amari's food. So I spoke to our old DJ. He's signing back on as a board director. He's got signing authority with the banks, people. I let him go because, you know, we kind of went, he moved away and just whatever, and kind of got, you know, just, I cut him some slack. That's what it was. Uncle John was medically kidnapped. Shmay was murdered. You know, all this bad aura. You know, all this shit going on. And, you know, I didn't want to do park events. You can't. It's hard, right? And so he wasn't really showing an interest at that time. So we voted him off. But I spoke to him, because I'm in between this, because last time I spoke to him through my son Brooks on the phone, he says, yeah, he wants to do a park event. So I'm working on it, but things have changed. So now he wants me to make inquiries into New Westminster, and like that's a whole new city, and we have no history with that city, right? We have history with Surrey. They can pull up our files from Surrey, but nothing in U.S. Anyway, I got to do that. And then, because I'm now talking about, like, booking a park, I'm making inquiries, you know, about how much the license is for the day, you know, park insurance, which is $5 million, covering the city, and us, right? We have to have $5 million covered for the city, including our insurance, which is about $350, between $200 to $350, probably closer to $350 if I remember correctly. I gotta vent it now. You think my nerves would give out on this crap with the way my eyes are? Not yet, but soon. And as I was talking to the insurance agency, you know, she suggested maybe getting a year license for doing events, which is about $450 versus a one-day event for $350 or $275 or whatever. And I said, well, I'll wing it by the DJ, right? Because I guess the DJ is the top dog these days. And nobody can wrap their head around that the DJ is volunteering his time. You know, is he getting paid? And I'm like, no. City, is he getting paid? No. Insurance company, is he getting paid? No. He's strictly volunteer. That's all it ever was. That's all we ever did was volunteer. We all volunteered, right? All of us. Shimei, Tisha, Markane, me, Riley, Steve, Yogi, everybody volunteered, right? And we gave it our best for being nobodies. So then, you know, I was talking to Riley today, and I said, well, gee, Riley, like, you still have your equipment? He goes, yeah. I said, okay, so are you doing your little hall parties and stuff? And no, because, with the COVID and everything, shut down and slowed, and it's so expensive and blah and blah. And I'm like, well, do you want to? Like, are you up to, what do you want, right? He goes, yeah, I wouldn't mind doing it, because he's got all the equipment, and he's a little younger than me, right? And he's a drywaller, so he's pretty healthy, so, he wants to use this equipment, right? And I said, well, maybe you should consider this offer that I got from this insurance company, and we'll insure you for a year. I think you get like 10 or 15 events that you can do insured as a DJ, right? For like $450, give or take a few dollars. I said, would you be interested in that? I said, how many events would you want to do, Riley, if we went in that direction? Oh, maybe 6, 7. I said, okay, so you want to do 6 or 7 events, which I'm assuming a couple of them might be hall parties, right, or something, because, he likes to do that, right? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, we're either going to insure it in your name, the foundation's name, or both our names, because he's going to be, he's a board director, right? He's only him and I can deal at this point with Van City Bank and HSB with those accounts on dormant. They're dormant, which locks them. But it was all about the principle, right? Tried to establish trust accounts, right? But they couldn't see that far in the future to realize what those things meant and what they could do for times like we're coming into, right? It's one of those situations they have to learn the hard way. So, either or. I mean, at one point, people at HSBC Bank, I had something like 21 separate bank accounts coming to my house monthly. I did a video on it. I just haven't put it in my playlist yet because, I'm so swamped, right? Either or. I said, okay, and Uncle John can sign with HSBC Bank, Riley can sign, and I can sign. We tried to get that Punjabi board director to, become a signing board director, but instead of becoming a signing board director to the banks that we had, he ended up taking my certificates that were in picture frames, told me he was going to go get $2 million for the foundation, never came back with the $2 million, and never took the time on his own just to come by and give me back those certificates. When when I asked about it, he said, I'll bring them tomorrow. And this was like 2 years ago. And I said, well, I'm kind of busy, wait, right, blah. And then I seen him, and he never came. And now I've been calling him for the last month, trying to get him to give them back to me. And he acting like he don't fucking know me. Like, come on. Like, that's stupid. Stupid. He's the one that when Riley and I went to the bank, we waited for him to show up, and he never showed up. Interesting how he never showed up to put his John Henry on at Van City while Riley and I sat there for an hour and a half waiting for him with the management. But the dude took the freaking certificates and ran off with them and is now, I guess you could say, refusing to give them back. Fuck, if you lost them or if you threw them out, then at least tell me. Don't act all, well, who are you? At first, oh, Judy, yeah, oh, okay, yeah, I'm busy, call me back. I'll call you back. He didn't call me back, so I called him back. And then all of a sudden, he flipped the fucking script, and he acting like he don't fucking know me. Like, what the fuck? I haven't talked to Riley. We did our last park event in 2012. Sierra was looking good. Sierra was doing good. Sierra was happy. Everybody was motivated. And by freaking October, social workers showed up to close Sierra's file, people. And I guess Sierra said, yeah, at one point over the summer, I did a little bit of something in terms of a drug of some kind, right? But she wasn't doing drugs then, you know? Like a one-time kind of fell off the wagon for a minute. Because she was doing fucking methadone, people. She wasn't doing drugs. And I don't know what these fucking social workers, they turned around and they sabotaged her. They threw her out in the streets in the middle of winter, fucking December 12th. And they turned her into a freaking junkie within 10 days, people. And everything fell apart. So by 2013, I was hardcore in the courts fighting for Andre. 22 freaking times I went to court in a period of 15 months. That's like 2 times a month more, right? In terms of a half a month, a half a year. A half a year I was going 2 times a fucking month fighting for my grandson. And then once a month after that fact. 22 times, you do the math, in 15 months. But it never helped Sierra. She was gone. They destroyed her. So, what? I'm going to go out and do a park event? Yeah, right. We get Andre back in April of 2014, finally. We got him back. Right? Everything was starting to settle down, calm down. We know we were dealing with Sierra with her addiction, with the heroin, with the junkie needle shit, right? And you know, that still wasn't doing very good. But at the end of the day, the family was starting to heal. We were, you know, right? And then what? The flu got into the house in December of 2014. And by January, Uncle John got it, right? I didn't want him to die on me. I trusted the healthcare system that they would protect him. And instead, they exploited him. And they gave him to a fucking, I don't know, a freaking demon that robbed him of his money that he inherited from his wife that they never told him about for 14 months, as they trashed my family, as if I'm going to phone up Riley and say, gee, Riley, let's go do a park event, right? Well, the stupid bank is telling me to sue their ass because they refused to give me official paperwork that had my fucking signature on there with John's signature. How dare they withhold the enduring power of attorney certificate that they had at the bank, but they knew that what they were doing was fraud, people, and that's why they withheld it until finally one good manager freaking gave me a photocopy of it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna phone up Riley and say, gee, Riley, I'm fighting with the bank, I'm doing this, fighting for Uncle John now. It's bad enough I fought freaking Andre, I'm losing my daughter, let's go do a park event. No. The few times I talked to him, he couldn't really cope with it. So I just let him go. I gave him his freedom. But you see, he loves us, people. He loves doing what he does. Because I said, okay, Riley, if we start booking hall parties, if we go with the 1-year insurance where you can be the DJ, right? Being that you're top dog here, right? I said, do you want to get paid for it? Straight up freaking asked him. He said no. I said, okay. So if you don't want to get paid for doing a hall event as a DJ, well, what do we do with the money if we make any money? I don't know. I said, well, do we put it into the next event? Start with that? He said, yes. There you go, people. I said, well, that's good. Okay. All right. I'll start making inquiries. I'll start making phone calls. But understand, Riley, I'm going blind now. It's not like I'm going to be showing up to these events. I'll be lucky to go to 2 of them out of 10. Because I have to stay with the Mari people. I'm like so freaking housebound. You don't even know. Tisha will go. I'll watch the kids. That's more up Tisha's alley. Her and Alice can go and hang out at the hall party and do whatever. I might do a fashion show with my costumes, though. That I'd have to show up. So maybe Marcane and Marina would babysit the kids for me. Maybe. Right? But that's something that's doable. Right? Ain't nobody gonna get paid. No, it's just because we're staying true to our word here, right? I don't know about this other guy, though. Like, why he wants to do what he's doing. Like, fuck, man. Don't come talking to me how you're a respectable businessman. You did this, you did, but then you turn around and you did that to me and the foundation and to Riley and to anybody else that gave up their life so that you could even have their certificates to run off and do what you want with. For all I know, like I said, people, maybe he did get that $2 million. Maybe that's why he's not giving it back to me. He went someplace else out of the fucking province with that shit, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Or he's just straight up freaking rude and ignorant, right? You know, not... Right? I don't know. I don't know what to think. I told you. Not the preferred citizen here. I'm not a UN soldier. Tearing down house after house. Throwing out vulnerable families into nothinghood. But it's not going to stop us. No. So Riley is becoming back on the board, back on the band. Oops. What the hell am I doing? Back on the bandwagon. Yeah. Yeah, back on the bandwagon. And now, because he's back on, right, it's just a matter of doing the paperwork, paying the filing fees to add him back on and do whatever, right? Give me a chance to clean things up. Coming the end of summer, I said that will give me time to contact the banks, right? Somebody else come and put their John, it'll be 3 of us, right? Take John off finally after all these years, people. Seriously. Since 2015, since 2000, there you go, British Columbia, Canadian government. You got a dead man's fucking signature on a bank for how many years? Just in limbo because of your negligence. Same thing with CIBC Bank. They phoned me up, wanted me to do something with Andre's trust account because it's in freaking limbo. It requires John's signature and my signature. If they close that thing behind my back, I swear on my everything that I love in this world and it's dead now to file another lawsuit against CIBC Bank for going behind my back 2 times. I never gave them permission. I have no signature, no John Henry written down anywhere to say close Andre's little trust account with John's signature on it. No, fuck no. Fuck no. It's not going to be that simple. If they did, I'm filing another lawsuit. Only this time I'll file it at fucking head office. Not going downtown. I'll send it to Toronto. so that Toronto can investigate what the hell this bank here in Surrey, British Columbia, Canada, is doing. How it likes to commit fraud, participate in medical kidnapping to commit fraud and steal money. Ruin lives. Gee, Riley, let's go do a park event. All our lives are getting ruined. What difference does it make? We'll just go and pretend to be happy. You will owe nothing and you will be happy. You will lose your family members and you will be happy. Your family members will be murdered and you will be happy. Your family members will be kidnapped, illegally apprehended, and you will be happy. Right? Yeah, that's pretty much it. So anyway, we'll see what happens in terms of events. I told Lady Jane, if we do a park event, I'd like to do a live stream with her, but honest to God, Lady Jane, I don't like your freaking topics that you created to gain attention for yourself. I don't. Like I said, I sew for strippers and shit like that, so I'm nobody to throw stones and cast judgment. But at the end of the day, I don't know. Just watching those other people with their videos when they're featuring quote-unquote Africa makes me think you all came out of the same school on the same day, and whoever's running the show, because that's basically what I'm starting to see here now, more like a movie set than actual real life. I represent real life. Riley represents real life. I know. And maybe I'm just over hypersensitive. But I'm always over hypersensitive. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll just see. Now I gotta stand here for 75 minutes. Oh, Joey. And then get into the fish tomorrow. And then put that away again. And then the only time I'll use it, if I use it, would be when I'm recanning fruit from a can into a jar, just because it will stay longer in a jar versus sitting in a can where it starts to pick up a tinny taste because of the acid in the fruit. But I don't need to do that right now. Yeah, funny how you got chickens running all over the place in fucking Africa, but they're killing all the birds out here. Treating them like they're diseased animals. You got cows and goats running around with all the chickens where everybody walks. But not in the States. Hell no, they're culling all the cows in in Dutch Holland or someplace like that, killing all the cows. I guess African people seem to think that they're immune to this global agenda to depopulate. I don't know. Why should I care when they don't care? Everybody's got their own sinking ship to look after. Right? I don't even know if I'm going to put up this video. Well, I don't know. I'll maybe sit on it. I'm not sure yet.